Here's the first orientation session for the DLA Talent Optimized program. This program is part of DLA's mission to unlock and support district administrators in their talent development. So we are launching a non-evaluative talent development system called Talent Optimized, or T.Op. This will include a 360-degree feedback tool called a talent assessment, coaching and mentoring sessions, and a professional growth map that is very similar to a professional growth plan. So here's some questions that we'll address here, and I'll answer some of these right now, and then we'll go into some of the details later. So first of all, is this evaluative? It is not. It is separate from the evaluation. What are the competencies? The competencies are a list of skills that have been shown through research that can be used for growth and development, and we're using those research-based competencies. Who will be involved in this? There will be the employee, who's going to be the mentee. There will be a mentor that they will work with, and then also, as part of the talent assessment process, the supervisor and the colleagues or peers of this employee will provide some input as well. How will growth be fostered? This will be through getting feedback in a talent report around those competencies and how people view this person's skills. There will also be a way to then look at all that to then set goals in a professional growth roadmap. And then finally, there will be coaching and mentoring sessions along the way. Who will be the mentor? And that is something that may depend on departments, but at this time, many departments have chosen to use someone outside of their department who will be someone from another leadership position. What about the professional growth goals? Over the past few years, as we've set our evaluation goals, some people have also set professional growth goals. What we're going to do is provide this environment here where you can specifically set a goal for your own professional growth, and that's what's going to be focused on through this program. And then what are the steps? As I've mentioned before, there will be a talent assessment, a 360 assessment that'll provide some ratings and a eventual report for the mentee to view. There will be an opportunity to set goals on the professional growth roadmap, and then, as I said, the coaching and mentoring that will happen throughout the year, and then a review at the end of the year. So let's jump into more details. First of all, let's set some mindset here. Evaluation versus coaching and growth. So we have right here in the set of arrows the performance management process, which has been something we've been building out since this initiative started some years ago, and we've been housing some of that information in PeopleSoft. So as part of performance management, a small part of that is our evaluation. Again, I mentioned a small part. And so today we have our evaluation process that is set up in PeopleSoft ePerformance, where we set goals, we put out strategies, and then how we're going to track those goals with documentation and performance indicators. And so understanding that the evaluation is a small part of that, the evaluation should do this. The evaluation should evaluate what you produce, okay, your results. It should be based on metrics, and it should be as objective as possible, and that's why we want to use data and metrics. So that, again, that's one small part of that entire performance management process with the arrows there, and there's a lot more that happens for an employee, check-in meetings, coaching and all that. But in the middle of that, those arrows, there's a circle there that says talent development. And so now we're launching this next part around talent development. So with talent development, we're going to have a list of competencies. And so here's just a list of the higher level, what we call district essentials. You can see they're driving innovation, effective communication, on down the list, and we're going to have competencies under each of those. And so what is the purpose here of this talent assessment? Well, the evaluation measures what you produce. The talent assessment is going to measure how you do that, how you actually get those results. It's going to be based on the competencies, and there's going to be some subjectivity to it, because we're going to be asking people to provide some ratings. And we have to be okay with that, because as humans and just in everyday life, there's always some subjectivity that's a part of that. But this is going to be non-evaluative, so I want to make that very clear. The talent assessment is non-evaluative, separate from the evaluation. So you can see the relationship. One side, we measure what is produced. That's evaluative, based on data and results. On the other side, we look at how does this person, this employee, get those results. Let's look at how they do it. That's competency-based and non-evaluative. All right, so just a little bit on a 360 talent assessment. This is a visual here. This is not exactly how we're going to do it, but just to give you a little bit of a picture if you're not familiar. In the business space, they've had 360 assessments for quite some time, and it allows an employee in the middle to get feedback from people at different levels, people above, people below, people horizontal to them, maybe even people outside of the process like customers. So we're not going to be using this exact model, but just want to give you an example of what a 360 does for an employee in the middle. So here's a little bit on the roles and responsibilities for our talent development process, the T.Op program. First of all, let's look at the people involved and their roles. At the center is going to be that employee, the mentee, who will rate themselves on these competencies, and they'll also be able to nominate some colleagues to rate them. There will be the supervisor, who's going to be likely the person that the mentee reports to, who knows the employee's work, and they're going to provide some ratings on the employee, on this mentee. And then they also have the ability to nominate some colleagues as well that would know about the employee's work. The colleagues are going to be any, employees of the district, whether they are direct peers to the employee, whether they're people under the mentee, under that employee, maybe they're above, it really doesn't matter. We just wanted to call them colleagues, not necessarily just peers, but people who could provide some insight because they've worked with this employee. And then finally, a mentor. The mentor is going to be a person after the talent assessment is developed that is then going to be able to start meeting with the mentee and do some coaching and growth sessions throughout the year. All right, so again, here's the steps of the process as I mentioned in brief, but let's look at them a little bit more. So the first major step is going to be the talent assessment, which is where the ratings are going to be gathered by the mentee, the supervisor, and colleagues, and those are going to be pulled together in PeopleSoft. And step 2 is a talent report will be generated that'll take all that data, put it together, and allow the mentee to view that, the supervisor can view that, and then, of course, the mentor will be able to view that. The mentee and mentor are then going to work on producing a growth roadmap, which is like a professional growth plan, where this employee will lay out goals, at least one professional goal that they want to achieve. And after that, there's going to be the ongoing coaching and development sessions, which will be happening very early on as soon as that talent report is gathered, but we want those sessions to happen throughout the spring. And then at the end of the year, there's going to be a reflection time period to look back on whether the employee met that growth goal and to look at what can be used for planning next year. So here's a look at the competencies. I just wanted you to see them. They're all listed there. There's 30 of them. I want you to notice the gray boxes across the top. Those are the district essentials. Those are the larger concepts or larger kind of focus areas that our district decided some years ago. District leadership decided that this is where the organization needs to focus. So we've aligned competencies to each of those. So you can see, for instance, in the middle under effective communication, some competencies there that are research-based that we've aligned. Directing others, managing diversity, listening, those are all competencies. So where do these competencies come from? They came from a very well-known resource called For Your Improvement, which is a development and coaching guide that's put out. There's different editions. We have the 5th edition here, and these are research-based competencies that have been shown and used by a lot of large organizations to drive their growth programs. So competencies can, for us in this first phase, do these 3 things in the red circles there. It's going to allow us, 1, to develop talent. It's going to allow us to coach more specifically. And then it's also going to allow us to target some trainings for growth and improvement. And of course, as we get more into using competencies, we can do some other great things, which is use the competencies to help us make hiring decisions, promotions, and even repositioning people based on their strengths. So just again, going back to that list of competencies, they have reference numbers. If you're wondering what those are, that references those specific competencies in the guidebook. And we're going to recommend that departments get a hold of the guidebook here, maybe a couple copies for their department to use. So let's look at the talent assessment. The talent assessment is going to be housed in PeopleSoft ePerformance, and that's that screenshot on the right-hand side in the red box. It shows you here's driving innovation and some of the competencies under that. And there'll be a way to go in there and rate. The employee will rate in there, the colleagues, the supervisor will provide ratings in there. And what we have on the left-hand side is a actual rubric that'll be used. So if anyone who's going in to provide ratings needs to know, hey, this competency, customer focus, what does it look like? And then what are the specific kind of criteria to rate this from mastery level down to the not yet developed level? So those will be provided. What is the growth roadmap? The growth roadmap at this point is going to be a Google Doc that we're going to use and share out, that everyone will have a chance to set at least one professional growth goal. And that really is going to be individualized for the person, wherever they want to see themselves one year from now as far as growth. And I would recommend that that's something that they want to tie to kind of a 5-year plan, where they want to be in 5 years. And so what should they get accomplished over the next 12 months? And so they will set that goal. And the powerful part about that is once they set that goal, whatever it is, that they will now find competencies, and we're going to recommend really 1 to 2 that they should grow in to get there. And this is not meant to be as a improvement plan, being that, hey, go find your weaknesses and improve those. No, because actually research shows that if you focus on your areas of talent, those will actually lead to more growth for you professionally and for the organization. So what supports and resources will be there? Of course, we have resources that I'm going to show you here on our DLA website. We will have monthly training sessions and support sessions, and each department will actually get a designated District Leadership Academy team member to assist them in this. So I want to briefly show you the website and where these resources will be located for you. So in our district portal, we do have a tile, and you can find it by searching for it. It'll take you right to our DLA website. On the DLA website, we have at the top here on the navigation a talent optimized page. So go ahead and click there. And what you'll see on that page, very simply, are a quick intro video, which is going to be this video right here. And under that are going to be the resources that you can now start to use. And with those resources, the first one here is a preparation guide. So I'll open that up very quickly and just show you some key points in there. For the preparation guide, to get yourself ready between now and when this officially launches, as the employee, you'll want to make sure you start generating a list of colleagues that will be part of your 360 team, and you'll want to start reviewing the competencies so you start to become familiar with those. And so there's a link there that'll actually take you to the competencies, and you can go there. We do have a second orientation session as part of next steps. That's coming up on September 30th, and that's where we're actually going to show you how to use the talent assessment in PeopleSoft. So just going back to the resources there, this is the list of competencies that you can start to become familiar with. And what you'll have here is under each of the district essentials, you'll have 5 competencies. And I want to make note that when the talent assessment is being filled out, you, the mentee, and your supervisor, you can decide on whether some of these competencies are not relevant or not, and you can take them out of the assessment. So you may not have all 30 of them. That'll be up to you and your supervisor. So there are the competencies with some descriptions. So you can review those, start to become familiar. And under that, if you would like to view the entire rubric, there's a link here that'll take you to the rubric, which is that document that I showed in my slide presentation there, that has the actual rubric. So it has the same descriptions on the previous document, but it does have the ratings there if you would like to look at the different criteria. All right, and then finally, the last resource that is there is the pacing guide. I'm not going to go into detail here, but I will tell you on the pacing guide, it gives you a visual throughout the year of the different steps that'll be taking place. And if you're a visual person, you may like that, or if you're somebody else who likes to see kind of the dates lined up, we also have in the second tab there a list of all the important dates, and we will be keeping you in the loop and providing you updates on all that. So there are the resources there for you on the DLA website. So finally, just to wrap things up on next steps. Next steps, you want to start thinking about who's going to be on your 360 team, colleagues that will provide ratings. You recommended to start reviewing those competencies. And then finally, we have a second orientation session where we're going to go over the actual talent assessment, and that is on September 30th from 10 to 11 a.m. So if you have any questions, you can certainly email District Leadership Academy at palmbeachschools.org, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.